Well, this book is based on experiences that I went through in Ecuador more than 30 years ago when that country was far less developed. It really helped me come up with the character of Filomena Buscarcela because it's a very different history. I bought a book before going there, figuring I ought to know something about my wife's culture, and it was called Ecuador, Fragile Democracy. You know, that's the sense that it was really an era where they were only a few years past their last military government. The previous president had died mysteriously in a plane crash, so all of this stuff is in the book, Blood Lake. It came out of an idea I've had. I've always been a mystery fan. My parents had mysteries. When I was in school, when I was younger, I didn't really read a lot of the assigned reading, but at home I was reading mystery stories. And I really had this idea of, this troubled cop. But, when I thought about this character as a male character, all these cliches kept coming to me. And, frankly, meeting my wife and going out with a Latina, this is back in the late 80s, introduced this whole world to me, and I said, that's what's going to make this work. I have to make this character a Latina, someone who's not like me, who has completely different experiences. She's an immigrant, she comes from the Andes. I always tell people when they ask, what's the inspiration for Filomena Buscarcela, I always say she has all of my wife's good qualities. The rest of her craziness, that's me. Is Filomena a feminist? I think very much so. She's a very strong female character. And the key thing is that I was writing these, in a way it's kind of bizarre for me. 50 years after second wave feminism, people are still looking for strong female characters. It says a lot about the moment we're in. So I consider her a very strong female character. And I'm very pleased when female readers come up to me with my book in their hands and say, this is my life. How did you know this? The answer is, well, it's my life too, actually. But, it's filtered through her experiences. She definitely does things I wouldn't do. She's stronger, braver, faster. But, bizarrely enough, I find writing in a woman's voice easier because, among other things, the playwright and poet Oscar Wilde said, if you give a man a mask, he will tell you the truth. So Filomena's kind of my mask, and I get to say the truth. You'd be amazed what comes out of your mouth when you're wearing a mask. Well, the character very much lives within me. She's still there. I have about 20 years worth of notes. Blood Lake is the 5th book of the series. Begins with 23 Shades of Black. It covers more than 25 years, roughly. The last story, which is reprinted in the paperback edition, says, I'm still waiting. It's the last line. She's still waiting for what? For justice. Where is it? For an end to this violence, for this end to this exploitation. I'm still waiting. This is the last book in the series, but the character still lives on. I wrote several stories after, taking her in the modern era. And even at the end of this big book, she does say, the mess I get into when I get back to New York is a whole other story.